Every guy has heard the obvious signs. She's distant. She stopped texting back. She's short with you. But those aren't the real signs. Those are just the symptoms that show up after the actual damage has already been done. By the time you notice those things, the disconnection happened weeks, sometimes months earlier, and here's what almost nobody talks about. Female disinterest doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't announce itself. It leaks out through a handful of tiny, almost invisible behavioral shifts that most men completely misread or worse, don't notice at all. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the real signs a woman has emotionally checked out, the ones rooted in actual psychology, not gut feelings or guesswork. And by the end, you're going to look back at your own relationship, past or present, and see things you never saw before. Stick with me, because sign number 4 is the one almost every man gets backwards, and it's the one that matters most. Before I get into the signs themselves, you need to understand something about how women process emotional withdrawal, because it changes everything about how you interpret her behavior. Dr. Sue Johnson, the psychologist behind emotionally focused therapy, spent decades studying what she calls the protest withdrawal cycle in relationships. Here's how it works. When a woman starts to feel emotionally unseen, she doesn't just shut down immediately. First, she protests. She brings things up. She tries to get closer. She asks questions, drops hints, tests the waters, trying to pull you back into the connection. But if those attempts keep getting missed, ignored, or brushed off, something shifts. The protest turns into withdrawal. And withdrawal isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's controlled. It's a woman slowly, deliberately protecting herself from further disappointment. So when you're looking for signs she doesn't love you anymore, you're not looking for an explosion. You're looking for silence where there used to be noise. You're looking for absence where there used to be presence. That distinction is the whole key to this video, so keep it in mind as we go through each sign. The first sign is this. She stops asking about your day, and not in the way you'd expect. It's not that she suddenly goes quiet about it. It's that her questions become procedural instead of curious. There's a massive psychological difference between a woman asking, "How was your day?" out of genuine interest and asking it because it's just what you say. Dr. John Gottman calls the genuine version an emotional bid, an attempt to connect, to enter your world, to feel closer to you. When a woman loses interest, the bid disappears first, but the words stay. She'll still say the phrase. She'll still go through the script, but there's no follow-up. She doesn't ask a second question. She doesn't circle back to something you mentioned 3 days ago. She's not actually trying to enter your world anymore. She's just maintaining politeness. And most men miss this because on the surface, nothing looks wrong. She's still talking to you. But talking and connecting are two completely different things. And when the second one disappears while the first one stays, that's your first real signal. The second sign is physical, and it's subtler than most people realize. It's not about her avoiding touch altogether. It's about the quality of the touch that remains. Early in a relationship, or when a woman is genuinely invested, touch tends to be what researchers call affiliative, meaning it happens spontaneously. Without a reason. She reaches for your hand walking through a parking lot. She leans into you on the couch without thinking about it. But when emotional interest fades, touch becomes what's called functional. It only happens when there's a practical reason for it. A hug because you're saying goodbye. A hand on your arm to get your attention. The touch that's built into a script of politeness, rather than one that comes from genuine desire for closeness. If you think back over the last few weeks and every instance of touch had a reason attached to it, a hello, a goodbye, an excuse me, that's not affection, that's logistics. The third sign is one almost nobody talks about, and it's this. She stops trying to make plans that are far in the future. Think about that for a second. When a woman is emotionally invested in you, she talks about things weeks or months ahead without even thinking about it. We should go there sometime. You'd love this place. We should check it out next month. These aren't conscious decisions. They're small, unconscious signals that she's picturing you in her future. Psychologists refer to this as future-oriented language, And it's one of the clearest subconscious indicators of emotional investment because it happens automatically when someone is attached. When that language disappears, when every plan becomes short-term, this weekend, tonight, and nothing stretches further than that, her mind has quietly stopped placing you in the picture of what's coming. She's not doing this on purpose. It's not a strategy. It's simply what happens when someone starts to detach. Her brain stops building a future that includes you because on some level, she's no longer sure you'll be in it. The fourth sign is the one I mentioned at the start, and it's the one almost every man gets completely backwards. It's this. She stops getting upset. I know how that sounds. Most men think if a woman isn't arguing with you, isn't getting frustrated, isn't pushing back on things that used to bother her, that means everything is fine. It means the opposite. Conflict, when it's healthy, is actually a sign of investment. A woman who still cares enough to get upset is a woman who still believes the relationship is worth fighting for. She's still protesting, in Dr. Johnson's terms. She still wants something to change because she still wants to be there. But when a woman has genuinely emotionally checked out, the arguments stop. Not because everything got resolved, but because she stopped seeing the point. Why bring something up if you don't expect it to change anything? Why get upset about something you've already decided you're going to accept or walk away from? This is what psychologists sometimes call conflict extinction, when a behavior that used to get a reaction simply stops because the person no longer expects any outcome from it. If a woman who used to tell you when something bothered her has gone completely quiet on that front, don't relax. That's not peace. That's resignation. And resignation is far more dangerous than conflict because conflict means she's still in it. Resignation means she's already halfway out the door in her mind and you just haven't noticed yet. The fifth sign is about eye contact, and specifically, about when it happens versus when it doesn't. Researchers who study nonverbal communication in relationships have found that sustained eye contact during emotionally significant moments, someone sharing something vulnerable, a moment of tension, a serious conversation, is one of the strongest indicators of continued emotional engagement. When a woman is still invested, she holds your gaze in those moments, even when it's uncomfortable, because part of connection is being willing to stay present through discomfort. When emotional interest fades, eye contact during those same moments starts to break early. She'll look at her phone. She'll glance away. She'll find something else to focus on right as the conversation gets real. It's not that she avoids you across the board. She might still make plenty of casual eye contact during small talk. It's specifically during the moments that matter that her eyes start looking for an exit. That's the tell. Casual eye contact is easy. It costs nothing. Eye contact during vulnerability is where real presence gets tested, and that's exactly where withdrawal shows up first. The sixth and final sign is the quietest one of all, and it's this. She stops seeking your reaction. Think about how people behave when they care what someone thinks of them. They glance over after telling a joke to see if you laughed. They mention something they did and wait, even briefly, to see your response. This is called reaction-seeking behavior, and it's deeply tied to how much someone values another person's opinion of them. When a woman is emotionally invested in you, she cares what you think, and that shows up in small, constant ways: a glance for approval, a pause after telling a story, checking to see if you noticed something she did differently. When that emotional investment fades, this behavior fades with it. She stops checking in on your reaction because on some level, your reaction has stopped mattering to her the way it used to. She'll still talk to you, she'll still share things, but there's no pause afterward. There's no glance waiting for your response. She's not performing for you anymore, not because she's being fake before, but because she's stopped needing your validation. And needing your validation, even in small doses, is a sign someone still values their connection to you. Now here's what ties all 6 of these signs together, and it's the part that matters most. None of these are dramatic. None of them look like a crisis from the outside. A woman who's emotionally withdrawing doesn't slam doors. She doesn't scream. She doesn't announce it. She simply, quietly, stops doing the small things that required investment in the first place, because those small things were never really small. They were the entire relationship expressed in miniature over and over every single day. The big romantic gestures are rare. The real relationship lies in whether she asks a second question, whether her touch has a reason attached to it, whether she's still picturing a future with you in it, whether she still gets upset when something's wrong, whether her eyes stay with you when things get real, and whether she still checks to see what you think. If you noticed one or two of these in your own relationship while I was talking, don't panic immediately. Context matters, stress matters, timing matters. But if you noticed several of these at once, that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern, and patterns don't lie the way individual moments can. Here's what I want you to do with this information. Don't use it to accuse her, to confront her defensively, or to spiral into anxiety over every small interaction. Use it as information. If you're seeing these signs, the actual next step is to reopen emotional connection, not through confrontation, but through presence. Ask real questions and actually listen to the answers. Initiate touch that isn't functional. Bring up the future again and mean it. Give her something to react to and things to feel safe getting upset about. Withdrawal is often reversible when it's caught early, because most of the time, it didn't start because she stopped caring entirely. It started because she stopped feeling like her effort was being met. That's a repairable problem, but only if you see it before it becomes permanent, which is exactly why these 6 quiet signs matter so much more than the loud ones everyone else talks about. If this gave you a moment of clarity, even an uncomfortable one, drop the word quiet in the comments below. I want to see how many of you actually recognize something in your own relationship while watching this, because recognizing it is the first step to actually doing something about it.